Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Today's video is going to be somewhat of an impromptu video, and if we have a little bit of time, I'll go over a couple of stories towards the end that I think are very interesting and that you should really be looking at today. But first, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you that we actually did it as an AP community. For the past few weeks now, I've been promoting that you go to my website, thealaskaprepper.com, and sign up for the email list. And Nutrient Survival, once we hit that magic number of people that signed up for the email list, full stop, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, for those of you that don't want to listen to this portion because you're not in the market for freeze-dried food, maybe you don't like Nutrient Survival, etc., just go ahead and skip to chapter number 2. We're going to offer us two things. Number one, and in my opinion, the most important, they're going to give us the biggest discount that they've ever given to any YouTuber, and it is live right now. So stand by so that we can talk about that for a minute. That way, those of you that are in the market for the best freeze-dried food in the world can take advantage of a 31% discount. It's the biggest they've ever given any YouTuber, and they did it with us, the AP community. So thank you very much, Nutrient Survival. In addition to that, at the end of this promotion, I guess you can call it, where you can get up to 31% off, they're going to be giving away 9 things. 6 of them are these. 6 of these Beat ESG AP mugs that they made up here a while back. And they just happen to have like 6 of these left, which really isn't enough to do another promotion, but it's enough to give away. So 6 of you that are on the email list will win one of those cups that are left. In addition to that, 3 of you are going to win some awesome prizes. Now, you still have time to get on the email list, ladies and gentlemen, because the giveaways are very nice giveaways too. They're not giving away little $20 trinkets or $20 worth of freeze-dried food. No, it's in the hundreds of dollars that they're giving away to 3 of you out there who will be lucky enough to receive an email that's on our email list. If you like Homestyle Scramble, which is my favorite, look at the price difference from $52.50 all the way down to $36. Or if you want to go ahead and try out the Alaska Prepper Payday Preps bucket that Nutrient Survival made up for us, look at the price from $273 all the way down to like $188. And even though after the final price is under $199, which is what you need for free shipping, you're getting free shipping on this order nonetheless. So go ahead and use my link, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to use that Team AP code so you can get 31% off. And I want to say a big thank you to Nutrient Survival for always looking out for the AP community. Nutrient Survival, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't checked them out, just go ahead and click on the link and at least check them out. Check out the nutrition that the food that they sell has to offer. Not only is it going to last you 25 plus years on the shelf if you don't open it, but it's going to provide you with all of the macro and, more importantly, micronutrients that your body needs in order to, you know how they say it, to strive and not just merely survive. The second thing that I want to talk about is I got a very heartfelt email from one of our long OG, original gangster AP community members. And it went something like this. I'm going to paraphrase it. And I have a lot of respect for this person. He's been around for a long time and he's a really good guy. But he was pretty much saying, hey AP, why don't you go back to the days where you talked about solutions and you had videos that were inspiring and that were entertaining and that were more about prepping instead of like news videos like I do now, like some of the stuff I'm going to talk about today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got a couple of answers for that. First of all, I think it's important that we stay prepared, and a way to encourage people to stay prepared is to show them the reality of what we are actually living through instead of them having eyes only through the mainstream media. If your eyes can only see through what the mainstream media has to offer, you're going to be walking toward a cliff, and trust me, the government's not going to stop you when you get to the edge, and neither is the mainstream media, those that are perpetrating all of these lies that they want you to think is the real truth. So this is kind of a way of being able to fight back against the system in order to at least help people stay motivated to continue to prepare. And I do understand that some of you may be fatigued. I get fatigued from time to time from listening to the news of what's going on here or there. And that's why I put out videos like this. If you go to my channel page, you're not only going to find videos that are about the news and about the realities that are going on in the world, but you're also going to find videos like this. And the reason I'm taking the time to go through this is because some of you may not be getting notified that my videos are going up. But for example, yeah, look, how do you guys like this thumbnail right here? I thought it was fun. And let me know what you think about this thumbnail of me going, oh my God, 300% markup on this olive oil. Isn't that what I told you about just a year and a half, 2 years ago on one of my news videos? Where now we have confirmation that olive oil didn't only double in price, but went up in price 3, in some instances 4, 5 times, ladies and gentlemen. So here we have a video of me going through Costco, just checking their stuff. I consider this somewhat of a fun video. Yes, news video. Yes, news video. But check this out. I had a lot of fun doing this video right here. The one where I went to a big Buc-ee's, the biggest gas station supposedly in the world, in the state of Texas. All right. So it's not just gloom and doom. Made in the USA. You know how many people are always on me about, hey, you're promoting stuff that's not made in the USA. But when I do a video of things that are only made in the USA, look at how many views I get. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it just lets you know where the public as a whole priority is at. This video right here was some essentials to have for survival. All right. So it's not all doom and gloom. Look at this video right here that I'm doing here. It's just going through some of the things that I use in my motorhome in order to keep the air quality high. Of course, I do videos about purifying water because I think it's essential that everyone have a way to purify water no matter what. And tomorrow I'll be dropping the first of like 4 or 5 solar generator review videos for National Preparedness Month. It's not all about doom and gloom, but if that's all you look for, that's all you're going to see. Now let's go ahead and talk about what I think is going to happen in the next several months, let's say to a year or two, and why it is that I feel you need to be prepared for at least a year, I would say minimum 6 months. When it hits, it's going to hit hard, ladies and gentlemen. If you look and see at where the United States of America is right now, you know that we have something coming up here this November that whichever way it goes, it's going to be really bad for half of the country, at least as far as they think. I believe that if it goes one way, it's going to be great for the entire country, even though for the half that don't think it's going to be great for them. But the thing is this, with number 45, they tried to cancel him and they couldn't cancel him. He just became more popular. Number 2, they tried to go ahead and put him in jail, and they couldn't put him in jail, so he became more popular. Number 3, they tried to take away his life. You know what I mean? They couldn't do that, and he became even more popular. Now they're trying to lie as much as they can to the camera, to the United States of America, to the people on this other candidate that's up there that will be, in my opinion, devastating to this country should this candidate be put in office. But I think that 45 is going to be the next one that leads this country past November. And you see how I'm talking. I have to do that because of this platform, right? But anyways, once he takes over again as the POTUS, what's going to happen? I believe that it's going to hit hard. We're going to have some kind of a financial collapse or some kind of a cyber attack or this or this or this or that. Go ahead and pick whatever it is that you want to pick. But it's going to be a crisis that is not going to be short-lived. It's going to last a good long while, meaning 6 months, a year or more. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen immediately after he's sworn in, but probably within 6 months to a year or so, the powers that be are going to pull the strings, in my opinion, on the financial system and other systems that we really need. I mean, there are so many weak points that we have that we could spend an hour just talking about them, but I'll talk about one, the internet. All we need is a huge cyber attack and everything stops, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for the day when that happens? Because it's going to happen eventually. right? All we need is the financial system to go down, and pretty much everything else goes down because we operate in a credit system here in the United States. Without credit, the trucks stop running, the food processors stop processing food. Are you ready for that? And I believe that when this happens, it's going to happen in a hurry, and it's going to take a good while for us to resolve our issues and to start producing again like we used to. This takes a long time to happen. And that's why I say you need to be prepared. You need to stay prepared. I honestly don't feel that there is going to be a nuclear war. I just don't feel that in my heart. But I do feel that the powers that be, in order to try to stay in control, are going to do everything to hinder the people. Not the government, but the people. Because once the people have had enough, it is the government that they take it out on. So once we've suffered enough, ladies and gentlemen, and it will take suffering, we will finally realize what right is and what wrong is, and we will demand that they do the right thing. Right now, what most people are doing is demanding that they do what they want them to do, even though it's not the right thing. You know, when the government finally runs out of other people's money, when they finally can no longer strip from you your wealth through the power of inflation, it will crumble because its foundation is not true. And when that crumbling occurs, it's going to be up to us to rebuild it from the ground up. But if we are weak and malnourished, let's say, or very poor because we didn't put a little bit of excess wealth into, in my opinion, gold and silver, all right? I'm not a financial advisor. But since we didn't do, those of us that didn't do those things, we're going to be in the bottom, still asking for scraps. And then out of that can come a government that is going to promise you everything and take everything all over again. So the more prepared that we are, the better that our country will be after this next huge crisis that's going to occur. I don't know what it is, but one will occur. The cycles predict it. Once this next huge crisis occurs, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be prepared for it. Because being prepared for it is the way that you're going to be able to get to the other side, to this new paradigm that we're entering into, to this new era in time that we're entering into, to this springtime of the first season of the fourth turning that we're entering into. You can say it however you want. You can use prophecy, you can use cycles, you can just use common sense, you can use technical analysis, whatever it is that you want, it's going to occur. Causation does not equal correlation. So ladies and gentlemen, just stay prepared. And if you don't like the types of videos that I put out, because to you they may sound a little gloomy and doomy, when in actuality, what I'm putting out is what's actually out there, what's actually happening. And hopefully every once in a while, I tell you, hey, this is how we can maybe solve this problem. But 99% of the problems out there, we can't personally solve. And the only thing that we can do is solve the effects of those problems upon us, we the people. And in my opinion, that's by being as prepared as you possibly can. Now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about these two stories that I pulled up today. New York is going to pay $155 per megawatt hour of energy for wind power, ladies and gentlemen, when right now it's only costing them $36 per megawatt hour. This goes to show that these states and also the federal government as a whole, in my opinion, only care about them and their cronies than we the people. Because does this seem like good business for the people that they are supposed to represent? They're switching over from one power to another that's almost 5 times as expensive as the previous, just so that their cronies can make money. And yes, it is their cronies that are going to be making the money, and I'm sure that they'll get a little bit of kickback in return. Now, this is all my opinion, of course. New York State signed a contract in June to buy electricity generated by 2 large wind farms. Let's go ahead and take a look at their stock picks, ladies and gentlemen. These people that passed these laws, make sure you go take a look at their portfolios. Empire Wind 1 and Sunrise Wind off the coast of Long Island. The state will be paying $155 and $146 per megawatt hour respectively. These prices are steep, at least 4 times the average grid cost paid over the past year. And I'm only speculating, ladies and gentlemen, of course, that the players in this case are going to be getting mega wealthy. But listen to this. With a break-even cost of $101 per megawatt hour, and that's thanks to subsidies, meaning taxpayer money that's coming from the state government, Equinor will make $54 per megawatt hour, and Ørsted will make a mere $45 per megawatt hour on something whose total cost should only be $36 per megawatt hour. Who are they looking out for? You the people, or they themselves and their cronies? The journal calculates Equinor and Ørsted, which are foreign companies nonetheless, will each receive a total subsidy of more than $3 billion, courtesy of the U.S. taxpayers. Ladies and gentlemen, anyone who argues that governments are for the people, you are very wrong, and you are probably the people that are not preparing. I hope you wake up. It hasn't worked once, so why would a politician go all in on price controls now? August 15th was the anniversary of the infamous Nixon shock, when excessive spending and trade deficits had governments on the ropes as prices climbed relentlessly. Inflation soared into the double digits while the economy growth stalled. That's called stagflation, ladies and gentlemen. When you have high inflation and high prices, but you have an economy that's just not growing, instead shrinking. In 1971 of that year, Nixon temporarily suspended the convertibility of the US dollar for gold, which is still temporarily 50 years later in effect, or 53 years later now in effect, while simultaneously proclaiming a 90-day freeze on all wages and prices across the United States. The stagflationary 70s also saw the Anti-Inflation Act of 1975. Does that sound kind of familiar, ladies and gentlemen? With this infamous 6 and 5 measures of 6% cap on wage increases and 5% cap on prices, thinking that the American people would be up 1%. But ladies and gentlemen, none of those price control practices worked. The public were mulched by higher prices and growing government, especially after decoupling us from gold. Gold served as a barometer to all of it, and it still does. Do a little bit of research on that. Gold soared from $35 an ounce in 1971 to an all-time high to $850 an ounce by 1980. That was an all-time high and won't be exceeded in inflation adjustment terms until gold cracks about $2,580. The last time I saw gold was at about $2,540 as far as an all-time high, maybe a little higher than that, but we're definitely going to exceed that number, $2,580. It's only a matter of time. Why is it so important, in my opinion, that people preserve their purchasing power in gold and silver? Because it doesn't matter what government you look at. The permanent temptation of all governments is what? To get bigger by doing what? Printing money out of thin air, stealing your wealth so that it can get more powerful and have more control. As of the third quarter of 2024, after historically fast hikes in interest rates, the current rate of inflation is less. I want to dissect this couple of sentences so you can understand the difference between inflation and the symptom of inflation, which is high prices. People think that they're 2 in 1, but they are not. So the current rate of inflation is less, meaning that they are producing less dollars now and throwing them into the economy than they were before in the last few years, where they made up like $7 trillion or so, like in a 2 or 3 year term. So you can see that right now the money being pushed into the economy is a little less than it was. So the inflation rate, the amount of money being thrown into the economy, is less than what it was in the past. But average prices continue to go up. Because once prices go up because of inflation, it doesn't mean that they go down. They will always go up because there will always be inflation at one rate or another. So the dollar's purchasing power lost to that runaway inflation is gone forever. When I say that inflation only has one way to go, and that's up, it's 100% fact, ladies and gentlemen, that if the government stopped deficit spending, that if we stopped creating dollars out of thin air, that the system would implode on itself. So it's impossible for the government to stop borrowing money and creating it out of thin air, stripping you of your purchasing power. And it's impossible for the prices of things that have already gone up due to the inflation in the economy to come back down. Yes, you will prove me wrong on a few things. Maybe the price of beef will come down to $11.99 after it was at $18 or $19 a pound. But that $11.99 is still about twice as much as what it used to be before all of the inflation got pushed into the economy. Maybe the price of Calrose rice may come down from $37 to $31. But before all of this inflation took place, Calrose rice was only selling for 22 or 23 bucks. So the price increase is still there and the inflation is there, but at a much slower rate, which means that prices aren't going to go back down to what they were originally before all of this inflation was created and pushed into the economy. And the only promise that government can really make to you is that prices will continue to go up. Just at what rate? That's the question. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got something out of this. I want to thank you very much. Again, I do have a video that I'm going to be releasing tomorrow. It's going to be the first of many different solar generator reviews that I'll be doing for Preparedness Month. That's coming up here in September. So I hope that you join in for those. And I do have a little bit of space in my pantry to go ahead and pressure can some beef, and I'll be doing that. I'm not sure if this week or next week, but I'll be doing that, so be on the lookout for that as well. But I can guarantee you this, that I will be back on Wednesday for sure to do the next news video, and I do believe that tomorrow is going to be our live stream with Gray Man, and I think this time around it's on his channel. So hope to see you then as well. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I am out.